welcome back, everybody, to the BMX podcast. Thank you very much. My name is Kevin Wilson, and once again, I'm joined by my co-host, Danny Pena, and Marty Boster is back in the house. And thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
All right, cool. So we've been talking about a subject or subjects to discuss on today's podcast, and we came up with BMX bike collecting, BMX bike buying and selling, and that type of thing. And I'm recently interested in parting with my collection, or at least some of my collection. And
we'll see.
What's that?
I say we'll see.
We'll see. I'm running into some problems. So I've done a couple videos over the years of my tips for buying and selling, finding BMX bikes. And I've totally changed my opinion on everything, so I wanted to share it with everybody. So Marty and Danny are going to join me, and thank you very much. And Marty has an opinion as well. And Danny, you don't collect, but you can appreciate.
Yeah. Hey, can I show you guys something really quick before we get started?
Yeah, sure.
Well, we're already started, but I finished my helmet.
Oh, bitchin'.
Yeah. Look at that action.
No, man, that looks awesome.
Yeah.
Got the visor riser on there.
Skyway stickers. I got the Skyway sticker on the back. Check out the lightning bolts. I know Kevin's a big fan of the lightning bolts. And complete with visor riser. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And this all started because of Brian Gass. He sold the visorizers to me and Kevin at Dirty Fest, and I told Kevin, I go, I'm gonna actually do something with this visorizer, and I got the helmet on eBay. I think this was $49. And it's made by a company called Raider. I don't know if you could see that. No. And I also found the visor on eBay, not on eBay. I'm sorry, on Amazon. And I also got the visor on Amazon, and this was like, I want to say $12. And so it was just a black helmet. It looked cool just being black, but I'm like, no, I can't stop there. Yeah. So, yeah, I love the way we used to do it back in the 80s with the stickers going up the front. Yeah. So I tried to emulate that, and I know Billy Griggs was really big with the lightning bolts right there. So I'm like, I kind of copied his style on that. And we got all these Fast House stickers for free at Dirty Fest. I forgot the writer's name who gave it to us again, Kevin. I'm sorry. And but then everything else, you can find anything on Amazon, including these vintage Skyway stickers. But these take forever to get, guys. I think they're coming from overseas because they had to clear customs before they actually got to me.
Oh, wow, dude, really?
So I had to wait a while for a lot of the stickers. Anyway, just wanted to share that, and then let's get started.
You need to send me the link to that helmet because I want to buy one as well. Do they come in different colors or they're all black?
Absolutely, there's all kinds of different colors. Yeah.
You know what was really great?
A white one, dude, and then I'm gonna get BMX's podcast stickers made. Oh, that'd be sick, dude.
You know what was really great? What was really great about back in the '80s with helmets and number plates? It's almost like your own personal artwork. It would be your own individual expression of what you were into and what you liked. And now it's so. I mean, it's not that it's not the same, but like Gary Ellis would go get a custom painted helmet, or everybody in the '90s were getting their helmets custom painted.
Yeah.
Pistol Pete, and it just was. Yeah, it was cool. It was cool, and in the '80s it was more of a stickers. You would decal your thing up with whatever stickers you could get, your number plates, your helmets and stuff, and then people got a little bit more elaborate in the late '80s, '90s, and getting the custom paint jobs.
Yeah, I think we got away from that because the helmets now are you just buy it complete. Yeah. And that's it. And unless you're, I don't think a lot of people do much with their helmets these days. I certainly don't. They're so cool looking, you don't have to really mess with them. So that's why the open face helmet's like a blank canvas. You do whatever you want with it. Yeah. So Kevin, you have to buy one because I got you the visorizer, and Kevin got the extended one, so his visor is going to be
dude, I want it straight up, dude.
Back when we used to take a nickel, you could take a nickel or a penny and stick it in between the visor, the snap, and it would hold until that guy ended up inventing those visor risers.
That actually held?
A little bit of super glue, it would hold.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's creative.
We
I
just,
did
we just went to the craft store, got an extra snap, and got my dad's drill and just drilled right in the middle.
Yeah.
That part, that was custom. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Totally.
Did you guys ever get a color electrical tape and make designs on the helmet? That's what my friends and I did.
That is really cool. I never even thought of doing something like
And
that.
then you use an X-Acto knife, and you could do curves and whatever you want on it with the electrical.
I'll tell you one thing my dad did. My dad was never really too big into me racing BMX. More my mom was always taking me. But he always fixed my bikes and helped me with stuff. But he did one thing. Like I had a full face helmet, and he hand painted Skyway on the back.
Oh, wow.
And it looked cool. I was like, he hand painted it. And I was like, whoa, thanks, Dad. Because I was like, I wish I had it said Skyway on it, because he painted the helmet blue for me. And I go, oh, I really want it to say Skyway all over it. And he hand painted it. I was like, wow, that looked pretty cool. I don't have those skills.
That's a picture.
Yeah.
Not to slow the podcast down, but since you have the Fast House stickers, I thought I'd share a story about what I saw today. In the local in Temecula area, there's a BMX shop called the Secret BMX Shop. Now it's not a old school BMX shop in the slightest bit, all new stuff. But I went down there because I was in the area and I wanted to get one of my crank arms pulled off of my Cook Brothers cranks that I'm trying to sell. And when I went in there, I looked up, and on the wall they had a Fast House 20-inch frame and fork that was black, and it was kind of cool looking. I'm all, what the hell's that? And he goes, oh, we're building that for Dirty Fest 4. And I was like, really? And so I guess Fast House is coming out with their own frame and fork. I don't know if it's a prototype or if it's going to go to market, whatever. But it kind of looks like a Webco. It kind of has a 70s stretched out geometry, but it has brake posts for 990 mounts or whatever for the brakes. But
was there any gussets on it at all, Kevin? Like, was there a front gusset on there, or was it just?
Yeah. It said FS or FH for Fast House.
Wow.
That'll be pretty tricky. I know you guys are going to buy one.
I don't know. But anyways, I thought that was kind of cool. And since you had the Fast House stickers on your helmet, I thought I'd bring it up. But anyways, so recently I've come to let's talk about collecting a little bit and finding bikes and that type of thing. If you guys don't mind, recently I've decided that I'm going to part with my collection. I'm not going to be buying any more BMX bikes. I'm going to keep my Matthews, but other than that, everything else is going. And it just, I want to share some of my frustrations, talk to you guys about buying the market, buying and selling, getting bikes and that type of thing. I'm thoroughly frustrated with the market. Like, I've been doing videos off and on for like 4 years now, and I've had like tips on how to find bikes, tips to buying and selling, and I've officially thrown my tips out the window, and I have all new tips, dude. But I wanted to talk to you guys about your experiences recently about buying and selling, finding, collecting BMX bikes. So that's what I'm talking about. So Marty, what do you think, dude? Is the market up, down, easy, hard going? What do you think, man?
Selling is always harder than buying, obviously. So I usually, if I come across something, it's got to be a pretty good deal. Otherwise, I'm not going to buy it. The fortunate thing for me is I started collecting bikes probably 15, 16 years ago, before this whole thing really blew up. Even maybe about 15, 16 years ago. You could find stuff on eBay that, people were just selling, didn't really realize what they had. And then all of a sudden eBay prices just kind of set the pace for what everybody was trying to sell things for. And it's like, it's not paying you $1,500 for a Super Goose, frame, a 1980 Super Goose frame that was $69.99 at the bike shop back in 1981. Right. But you could you could you could get them less expensive back then. Now it's people just, you go to the swap meets. Those are the worst. Those are like, you know, you go to the swap meets and they have everything laid out on blanket and these guys want top dollar and it's like, you can keep it. You know, I'm not going to pay that kind of money for something you think is worth, you know, what eBay says it's worth. In my opinion, it's only worth what somebody's willing to pay for it.
I got a question on that, Marty. On the you made a statement a second ago about, you know, people didn't know what they had in terms of the value of it in the early stages of collecting. So is there still barn finds out there where someone's got stuff in their garage, they don't know what the value is of it, or you find something at Goodwill, you know, and somebody just dumped it off there, things like that?
We found a 97 next generation S&M Homes at a secondhand store. And the funny thing was, and I bought it for $300, and it had Black Widow, Odyssey Black Widow cranks on it. I forget, it was the bike was a beautiful bike. I still have the frame and the fork, most of the parts. I bought it for my son, and the lady's like, "This is an S&M, and I'm not letting it go for anything less than 300." And that was 12, 15 years ago. Now, it could probably fetch $1,000 to $1,200 now. I would think easy, but you know, if you break it down, some people want those parts. So you might walk into a Goodwill and see an old mongoose or something sitting there that, you know, or a garage sale. But I think for the most part, it's few and far between.
Are you gentlemen in a situation now where if you see something that's dirt cheap, you're just going to get it without thinking much about it?
I was up until a week ago.
Okay. Yeah, it depends
I don't care how much it is now. I'm not going to buy it.
Yeah, it depends on what it is, you know, and if you really need it. You know, it's one of those things where you have so many damn bike parts that it's good to have, but the thing about it is, what I do now is if a collector or somebody is looking for something, or if I see somebody building a bike, I might say, "Hey, I have a part that'll work for you," and you know, and I'll give you a decent price if it's something you're going to put on the bike and keep. But if you're looking to do a resell it, I guess it shouldn't really matter whatever they do. If I decide to sell it, it's their stuff to do with what they want. But I don't like the whole markup game and the you know, like I said, you go to the swap meets and most of these guys weren't even bike riders. You know, they're selling stuff that they think is what, you know. When I was at Frogtown last year, this guy had a Mongoose 24, the 2.4, and it was a frame and fork with a bunch of janky parts on it. And he goes, "I want $1,200 for it." And I go, "Phew." I go, "All I really want's the frame and fork, and I still have to clean it up." And I go, "I'll give you $400. You can tear everything off, or you can just give it to me because all the parts on it I'm going to throw away anyway." I go, "I'll give you $400. And he's all, "Nope." I said, "Okay." I guarantee he's still sitting on that frame, you know, because nobody's going to give him $1,200 for it. And $400 was a stretch because now I got a bike that I wanted to build I wanted to redo the Karate Kid bike, because that's what Ralph Macchio rode in the original Karate Kid, the Mongoose 2.4.
Right.
And so at that point, I'm like, I don't really need it that bad. It would have been fun to build, but not for the prices that they were wanting.
What do you guys think is driving up the prices when these bikes were so mass produced in the 80s? So if you're looking at like a Diamondback, let's say Silver Streak, does that have any value compared to, like, let's say a Cook Brothers bike or whatever? You know, I'm just using that as an example.
I think that Marty and I are going to have differences of opinion on this.
Okay.
I'm not going 10 years back, Marty. I'm going to go back 5 years.
Yeah.
Right before COVID and through COVID until now. That was my sweet spot. Okay. A Silver Streak frame and fork with Diamondback fork on it. I could easily buy it and sell it. I could sell that thing for $350, $400 all day long for a Silver Streak.
Frame and fork just by itself?
Yeah, frame and fork, and it doesn't have to be good. Just as a Diamondback, no problem. 400, about 350, something like that. And now I can't even give mine away for 275, and it's clean. And it's like it's crazy where just in the last 4 years or 5 years, stuff has just it just went a nosedive. I mean, there were times where I wouldn't even really know what I bought. I would go out there. I go, well, I think it's worth this.
Yeah.
I'll give you this for it, and I always made money. I used to preach to people, if you get a barn find, people use barn find so loosely, but if you find a bike that's original, that hasn't really messed with all original parts from period parts, you can almost always buy it. And tell me if you agree with me, Marty. You can almost always buy it, part it out, and make money.
Right.
It was a certainty. You could buy the bike, part it out, and always make money.
A lot of times you could get rid of probably less than half the parts and make the money that you paid for the whole bike.
Yeah. And then
really,
and yeah. Now, no. Now you can't. Everything's changed now.
I also think that keep in mind that we're the people that these bikes are important to. We're getting older, and it's fun. It's fun to find it and build it. But after doing it, you're like, it's almost like a classic car. Somebody finds an old Mustang and they do all this work on it, and they're like, you're not going to sell it for what you got into it. You might take it to an auction and get something, but it's more of a hobby, for me. It really is. And there's a bit of how would I growing. I don't want this to sound not self-deprecating. What's the word I'm looking for? We grew up pretty poor. We didn't have a lot of money, and it's I think I'm going to mention this a lot the other podcast. I do all right. I make a pretty good living, and now it's like I think I'm compensating for not having these bikes as a kid, So now you see one, you're like, oh, I got to have it. I got it, Now I'm sitting here with, But most of my bikes, I've come across pretty good deals. The most expensive bike I ever bought was at RRS, and that's just recently. But I'm pretty certain that bike, for what I paid for it, I'm pretty certain I could probably get 1,000 more than I paid for it to the right person. But the right person's got to come along, and I could put it on the raffles. Those raffles tend to be a good spot to try to sell your stuff if you want to try to make your money, because it gives everybody kind of a chance to buy spots at a lower price and maybe take a chance of winning it, and then you get you kind of get your price that you're looking for, and you kick the host a few bucks for raffling it, but for the most part, I don't think that. I think like it's even hard because now you got all the scams. Somebody might take a picture of your Skyway behind you and be like, "Hey, I got the Skyway for sale," and then you never know, and everybody wants friends and family, and it's like, "Hey, I'm willing to pay the extra money to not get burned," and as soon as they say no, you're like, "Okay, well then forget it. I'm not going to buy it."
Did you have a chance, Marty, to go down to because Kevin, I think we missed it, which I was going to talk to you about, by the way. The swap meet at Dirty Fest. Did you have a chance to go down there? Did you check it out, Kevin? Because I think we skipped that, dude.
I did. I checked it out.
Was it what was the vibe like for that?
Same thing. There was some cool stuff there, but there was nothing that was just I gotta have it. There was nothing down there that it was almost like a lot of stuff that you got to go and really refurbish. They've I think really, in my opinion, a lot of those swap meet. I think they kind of devaluize everything that like you think you have. Like I've got a couple Super Gooses, and then you go to there, or some Mongooses, and they're like they're all over down there, but they just want so much that you're like, oh, you can keep it for that, So
that is a fantastic point. I never thought about that.
Yeah.
But if you're looking for something nice, like because I saw there was a guy down there with a barn find goose with tuck wheels, and the guy next to him had one, and the guy over there had one, and this guy had two, and it's like, well, I don't have to get this guy. There's 5 of them out here for me to choose from. Right. So that's a fantastic point where, yes, it would devalue what you have, where you want to go someplace where you have the only one.
Right. And
I thought that there was way too many. I thought there was more sellers than there were buyers. I don't know if you would agree with that.
Yeah.
But and everybody falls in love with their stuff, and I'm one of the guys. I've fallen in love with my stuff before, not now, but a lot of sellers, I think a lot of guys, when they get something for a really good deal, the greed sets in, man, and they want even more money for the part.
Yeah.
It would seem counterintuitive, like if you got it for a great deal, you pass on the part, you make your money, and you leave some meat on the bone for the next guy.
Yeah,
but I think it's exactly the opposite, dude. It's almost like a badge. It's almost like a badge of pride for these guys when they say, "Oh, I found a little old lady. She was selling her son's bike on Craigslist. I found it for $100. I bought it. It was worth $3,000." And I think that us as a collective for the sport, we kind of encourage that. Like, take advantage of the old lady. Don't tell her what she has. And I've done that before, and it's almost like we pat the dude on the back virtually. Great find, dude. Great find. Let me buy whatever you have on. And I don't want to be part of that rat race anymore, dude. I just don't, man. I go, tell the old lady what she has, and if you tell her and she still wants to sell it, fine. But I don't know, dude. It's just weird for me how the psychology works for guys that get good deals.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you guys a funny story, man. Kevin, I forgot to tell you this one. So it was pre-COVID. So I'd say about 2017. So I got a tip that there was a police auction in Lodi, California. And I was like, what do they sell at the police auction? And somebody at work told me that it's all bicycles, that all these stolen, recovered bikes or whatever. And that's all it is. And I go, okay, I'll try it. So I got up early on a Saturday morning, drove to like this fire station, and they started rolling all these bikes out. It was just a bunch of random mountain bikes and things like that, that some homeless guy probably stole. So they were selling things for like $2, $5, $10, and people were just. And I was like, I'm just gonna wait for some BMX stuff to come out, see if there's anything interesting. Every time something rolled out, there was one kid there. He must have had the deepest pockets ever. He was about 14, and he was with his mom. And every time they brought out a bike, I'd be like, okay, 20. He'd go 25. And I go 30. He'd go 40. And I'm like, what the hell, kid? It's not worth that. And I just wanted parts off these bikes, and he outbid me 3 times because I was like, I'm not spending that much on that piece of crap. I just want to get the pedals off of it, or I was just looking at whatever parts were on there, and he kept outbidding me. But I don't know. Have you guys ever tried any auction? And I have another question.
Yeah.
If there was, how there's Barrett for the auto auctions, right? The huge Barrett thing. If there was something like that for BMX, just a BMX Barrett BMX auto or bicycle auction, would that be feasible? You think that would work, or is there not enough market out there for that?
I don't think there's enough money. The bikes aren't. I don't think the bikes aren't that expensive, right?
Yeah.
Obviously not like a hot rod, but you know what I mean.
Well, that's where they make all their. Well, I don't know. Marty was going to say something. Go ahead, bud.
Well, this is a perfect example of that. It all boils down to, what somebody's willing to pay, and a perfect thing for like those Barrett auctions, those auto auctions. A lot of times, you got multimillionaires they're buying something because they want it, right. And that's where I won't buy something unless I absolutely want it. At this point, unless I want it, I'm not going to buy it, and then I'll worry about whether it's worth anything later down the road. Because most of the stuff I've had for a long time. That I was done buying stuff 3 or 4 years ago, and then I came across that RRS. I was thinking, I want this bike, and so I'm not worried about flipping it to try to make money off of it. Maybe down the road, 5, 8, 10 years, you know, if my children or my grandchildren decide they want to, you know, they show any interest in BMX, then they better do their history and come to me and tell me what everything's about before I pass it on to them. But, you know, other than that, I'm not selling the stuff because I need the money. I'd sell it more because I'd want the right person to have it.
Would that model work though if there was a big auction where everybody rolls out and goes, "This is it. We're going to sell." Like Kevin has made the decision, I'm selling all my stuff. Which Kevin, you can't sell your power light because you need that one to go race with. But I'm saying if people are like have reached Kevin's point, I don't want this stuff anymore. I got too much. I'm ready to roll. Marty, you have tons of bikes behind you, so you probably have reached your limit of what you want to keep. So, I mean, would it work? I mean, is that something, if it was organized, do you think it would work?
I thought about it, dude. No, I thought about this many times, dude. Many times, man.
I think if that's the case, the platform is eBay. You know, for something like that. I mean, somebody could try to, you know, set up some type of platform for auctioning these bikes, but I don't think they're going to be. I think nobody. They're BMX bikes. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous what we're already paying for these things, and it's like I said, it's guys our age that are finding something nostalgic that we remember as a kid. You know, so I think what may happen is the next generation of like 90s, even, you know, even the early 2000s, you know, those kids that are now 25 years old or 30 years old will see something that they remember as a kid. I have a handful of old Star Wars toys that I had as a kid, and it's like, you know, it's like, why do I have these things? Well, now, you know, my nephew likes to play with them, so I give them to him, and you know, so it all depends on what you're into. And BMX is, as big as it is to people like us, it's really nothing to the majority of the world out there.
Yeah.
Not to put a damper on it, but you really have to be into BMX for it to mean something to you.
Well, let me ask you this one question, Marty. So you already said that people will only pay what they want to pay for something. That's how much something's worth. That goes with the auction model.
Yeah.
And I think that the whole problem with eBay is that no one wants to pay the fees.
Yes.
Or there's the fraud, or there's the shield billing, or there's a whole host of other different things. In theory, if somebody could take out the shield billing or bidding, reduce the fees, make it more conducive to a deal environment, I think that it could work, because the guys out there buying bikes, we got all the money, right? Our generation has the money,
right?
And there's I don't think there's, for the premier stuff now, there's no shortage of guys. If I walked out of a garage tomorrow with the 81 Cook Brothers, you know, bar find, there's no shortage of guys that want to buy that bike.
No, you're right, Kevin, because think about all these events. Sorry to cut you off, Kevin, but what's the biggest attraction? It's usually the bike show.
Yeah.
That's what got me thinking about it. Sorry, Kevin, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. Yeah. But the problem is it would have to be no reserve, right? And it would have, you know.
Oh, no reserve.
Like Barrett. But, you know, that would be someone would have to do it that had some chutzpah behind them, someone that had a name, someone that had industry clout that could float it, right? I couldn't do it. You couldn't do it. Maybe Marty has that kind of clout, but I don't have. I mean, that's what I mean. Someone would have to have a name behind it to push it to get people on board. And so that's just my opinion, but I think it could work. I think it's possible.
You know, I think there was a point where people were, you know, stuff was going and people were paying these stupid prices for stuff because, well, it was fresh and new. And then they thought, well, I'm gonna buy this and I'm gonna turn around and sell it in 5 years for twice as much. And that's really not the case. But I think with certain items, you got to strike when the iron's hot. Now, let's go back to the Diamondback thing really quick. I think that there's going to be a small demand for Diamondback stuff with Harry Larry passing away, and it's going to be a small window. So if you got your Silver Streaks or those to me, those Turbo Harry Larrys are the most, they're the most overrated bike out there. They're really a piece of shit. They break, they're weak, the cranks are garbage. But if you find one that's in pristine condition, they'll fetch $5,500. You know, it's stupid.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dude, my brother had one, and he hosed those. He broke the cranks in like a week.
Yeah.
But they're beautiful cranks. They're very, very attractive cranks.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude.
What I really liked about those bikes was that, and Mongoose did the same thing with the Mongoose Pro Class. It was kind of that smoked, I don't know if it was an anodized powder coat, but it was like the first of the real smoked clear coat looking color that was really a really beautiful bike. But even those, you know, those Mongoose Pro Class, they made them ultra light, and good luck finding one of those that's not broken, you know. So, I think there's just going to be a small window of Diamondback stuff that'll probably sell maybe between now and the next year as they're doing all these Harry Larry tribute things. And so you might get something. I have a Silver Streak right over there that I picked up that I was telling you I was probably going to give it to Greg Romero when I see him at Frogtown. And I got it for like $200. And it's like, you know, he wants to build it because he, you know, as and it's almost like his when he was a kid.
Yeah, I saw a picture of that on Facebook. He was standing by. Yeah.
Yes. Yep. Sorry, I'm not in my garage. It's like freaking sweating out here, but that's right.
Probably our fault because we wanted to look at your bikes and we.
No, it's all good. Yeah. It's all good.
Yeah, so my number one rule has always been be nice.
Yeah.
If you're the buyer or the seller or whatever the case may be, you got to be nice.
Yeah.
You got to know that you're going to get lowballed if you're selling something. You got to know how to lowball other people if you're buying.
Yeah.
You got to, you know, there's certain things that you could do that would help facilitate the deal.
Yeah.
And at this particular point, I've been lowballed so much in the past couple of days, dude, that I've thrown all of my goodwill out the window, dude. I'm about ready to have it, man. Like I'm pushing maximum problems now, dude.
Kevin, I think you should try to put that hutch on one of the raffles, and you'll get a decent amount for it because people will want that, but they don't want to pay $1,000 for it. But they'll buy 5 spots at $20 a spot. They'll spend $100 on a raffle spot and for a chance to win it. So that might be something you look into.
$600 for the frame and fork and headset. Yeah. So I think that's a pretty standard deal.
So the right person, that's a fair price.
Yeah.
If you get a hutch guy that wants it,
pretty sweet too. Not to cut you off, Marty, but I saw your Kevin's hutch, and I'm gonna say, man, I grabbed it, I sat on it, kind of, and I just picked it up, and I go, damn, this bike is still solid. It's solid, light.
Yeah.
And that's an '80s hutch, and I think it's still rideable today. So I was like super impressed by that.
When we get off here later, I'll get you in contact with Matt Heaps. He's a photographer. He does a lot of photographer Well, he did for a while, and he's a big hutch guy. And I'm sure that he could find a home for that if you don't find one.
Okay, nice, dude. So, anyways, as we're doing this, I'm getting lowballed as we speak.
Are you really?
Yeah. Oh man, it's crazy.
You have stuff where do you have your stuff listed at right now?
On the marketplace, Facebook.
Oh, Facebook Marketplace.
Oh.
Yeah. Now, well, no one's gonna offer you what you want at first. You know, it's always gonna start low like that.
Yeah.
So.
Sure, but here's my thing, right? I at least give somebody foreplay before I'm trying to buy their bike, right?
Yeah.
I give them a handy. We do something.
Right.
How you doing? I like your bike. Foreplay, maybe a little feeling of something. I like your bike. Hey, where you located? How long you been riding? Did you grow up? Something to pave the way to then I'm going to lowball them. Okay, I'll give you half what you're asking. these guys now, they could care less. It's like just right out of the box, boom, cut me in half, right out of the box. I'm like, come on, man. At least ask me a question. You know, they don't even ask, will you take this? They just put a number.
Wow.
It's just a number. No question mark, just a number. And I'm like, and my frustration and my frustration won't let me take it. I'm all, no, I'm not going to take it, even no matter how bad I want it. But I mean, that's not how you do business, right, Marty? If you want to buy a bike, you're going to act like there's certain criteria you need to follow, right?
I'll usually, I'm not, I mean, if somebody has a price in mind, they have a price in mind. Like I said, that Mongoose 2.4, that guy wanted $1,200 for it. And it was at a swap meet. And I go, but all I want is the frame and fork. Really, and I said, I'm not trying to lowball you. Go, shoot me a number. I said, I'm not trying to lowball you. I said, but honestly, to me, it's worth $400. I'd have a hard time giving you $400, but that's the most I'd be willing to give you for that frame and fork. And he's like, nope. But I said, okay, no problem. You know, you told me to give you a number. That's what I was willing to pay. And his ego betrayed him. And now he's sitting on inventory. And we all know there's no money in inventory, right?
Yeah, dude. Like, see, that's a gangster move, Marty. That's gangster, dude. Because I wouldn't even if I wanted it. If he was asking $1,200 for it, I would have said, "Okay, thanks," and walked away. Yeah. Not even came out with the $400. Yeah. So that was gangster, dude.
Well, but that's just it. He said, "What will you give me for it?" And I said, "I don't want to insult you. But this is $400 is about the highest I'd be willing to give you." And he's like, "Oh no." I said, "Okay," and that went on to the next booth, and it needed work. And honestly, after I walked away from it, I thought, God, I'm glad I didn't buy that thing, because that's a whole nother bike that the frame's going to go sitting with the rest of my frames. I have like 6 or 7 frames that are sitting at my shop that I had intended to build that I probably will never build now, and I'll just sit on them until I find the right person that wants them.
So do you guys think the bubble has burst on this whole collecting thing, or are we still? Yeah. Is it still on the rise at all?
Can you repeat that? You broke up on me.
What I was saying is, has the bubble burst on this whole collecting thing, or is it still kind of on the rise? Where are we at with this? Because I don't do it, so.
Oh, that's a tough. I think that I don't know, because I don't shop around or look for stuff. If I find something, I find it. But I think what's going on now is you're seeing, like, if you go to, here's what's going on, especially on a lot of the raffles, there's not a lot of stuff that's all super ultra rare. You know what I mean? People they're looking for a way to sell their stuff. So they'll go sell, I don't know, they'll sell some new modern stuff at spots to, like repopped stuff too, like, repopped cranks and stuff like that. But I don't really know where the market is, because I'm not looking to really buy anything, nor am I really looking to sell it. But I'm in a pretty good position where if I come across something and I want it, maybe I might buy it, or if somebody wants something that I've picked up, then I'll probably, I don't know why I like to, like with this Diamondback that I picked up for nothing. I mean, it means, it's not that it doesn't mean anything to me, because I have 2 of them and I have one that I already built. But to me, it's like, man, if I could give this to Greg Romero, he's going to be stoked to know where that bike came from. And it's like, and so I have another frame, a Robinson, that my really, really good friend Jim McCarty gave me, that I'm probably going to give to Charles Townsend, because it's an Amtrak. I'll grab it really quick.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah. And so my buddy,
man, you know what? The way Marty gives out frames, I'm glad we're making friends with him.
Wow. So this frame, my buddy he's selling a lot of his stuff and he's moving. And so I told him, I said, hey, how much do you want for that Amtrak frame? And he goes, is it for you? And he goes, do you want it? I said, yeah, but I don't want you to give it to me, because I knew he would give it to me. And he goes, nope, it's already done. I'm giving it to you. And I'm like, I go, Jim, you don't have to do that. And then when I brought it to him, I said, look, my intentions are to give this to Charles Townsend. So I'll make sure that when he gets it, he knows where it came from, that it came from you, not really for me, because I think Charlie Townsend will really appreciate this frame. And he's probably, I think he was at Frogtown last year.
He was, yeah.
And so it'll be kind of cool to just to give it to him. It's not really worth much. This frame might be worth maybe $300 or $400. I don't know.
What year
That's
is
a
it?
nice frame though.
Yeah, this is probably
That's a
probably
90s.
an early '90s, maybe a mid. Oh, it's probably when everything went aluminum. But
My brother was the product manager for Robinson in '96. So I wonder if my brother
there's
did
a
that.
serial number, so I don't know if you could see the serial number on there, but I don't. Maybe it's a '97. I'm not sure.
My brother did that.
You gotta build that. You gotta build that up with some spin wheels and your gold.
Right, that's all. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's the last thing I'm going to do is build a '90s bike at this point. Man, I'm like I had a hard enough time working on those things. I can fix '80s bikes all day long, but when you start getting into like and these aren't as bad, but anymore like the all these new carbon bikes. So it's like if I were to ever buy a new modern bike, I'm just going to have a mechanic put it together for me because there's certain specs. You got to torque it certain ways, and it's crazy. I just watched a clip of Barry Noble's building a set of wheels, and I was really impressed at how quick he built these wheels. I was like,
He did it
man,
himself. Yeah, he laces it up
yeah,
himself. All
yeah,
that.
yeah. It was cool.
Which is
So,
kind of crazy because Barry's a pretty handy guy. Obviously, I see his
Yeah.
videos all the time, but
Yeah,
he builds his bike from the ground up. Like Chase
Oh, yeah.
just sends him everything, and he
Yeah.
just sits there and laces up his hubs, the whole
no, that
nine.
guy's a mechanic. He's a full-on mechanic, and
Yeah.
that's what
Yeah.
that's kind of. I mean, I build all my own bikes, but if I got a new modern, my mountain bikes, shoot, I don't even. Something's wrong with the mountain bike. I go take it, and I have my buddy Jeff. I'm like, hey, just dial it in. I don't know how to adjust. I don't know how. I'm not that. I
Yeah.
can figure it out, but I just don't. I just would rather leave it to the professionals.
Somebody says bleed my brakes on a BMX bike. I'm done.
Yeah, yeah. My Mad Dog right here is this is my new race bike, and it does have disc brakes on it. But
Nice.
I did the cable pull because I was like, the cable pulls work great, and I was like, I'm not going to do a hydraulic because what if I crash and you break the lever, and then you got a freaking hydraulic mess all over the place that you got to try to fix in the pits, and it's like, nah, just give me a cable pull and it works fine.
So that's your actual race bike then?
This is
right there?
Yep. This one I just built it. I raced it 3 or 4 times this year. It's a fun bike.
I love it because it looks retro, but it's still
Yeah.
modern at the same time.
Yeah, I went with the Pro Neck up front, and then the Pro
Wow.
Neck. Kind of try to make it with the red lines. Try to make it like my old Mad Dog when I was a kid.
Right. I love that you're running that Haro plate on there because that's really awesome. Hey, that's my race number.
Yeah, I saw that too. That's mine too
Oh
this
my
year.
God!
Yeah,
Look at this. I don't know if I can turn it enough, but I'll show you.
I saw your post. I think I liked one of your pictures on your
Oh,
Facebook
can you-
page. I said, "Oh, we got the same number."
Yeah, look at.
Yeah. I'm 50. I'm 54 this year too. I'll be 54 next month, and that just happens to be my number this year.
That is so funny, man. I was like, hey, that's my. And I run that number until they tell me I can. I just go to a race and they go,
Yeah.
"What's your district number?" And I go, "I'm just running 54." And
Well, you know what my number is?
what's that?
You know what my number is?
Oh my God, 69, dude.
Funny story. In 1998, we go to the I think it was whatever was Reno was holding us. Maybe it was the Silver Dollar Nationals in Reno, and they had just posted all the maybe it was at the end of the year, and they posted all your new numbers on the wall. And I was number 69, and Charles Townsend was walking by. I go, "Choo choo, I'm 69 this year." He just kind of smiled at me like, "Who's this kooky kid?"
That's amazing.
But I always tried to run my numbers. There was the number that I like to run a lot was number 28, which is on all my my Frogtown and my Dirty Fest bikes. I always ran 28. when I could get away with not having to run a district number. And I don't know why. I think it was my district number one year, and it just looked cool on a number plate. Some numbers look good, and some numbers don't. I guess I don't know.
That 54 came from. I finished 54 in my district in 1986.
Oh yeah.
So I just said that's my lucky number. That's the lowest I ever got. So I just kept it. I almost broke the top 50. I was like, I just want to get in the top 50, because my district was huge, man. I was in Cal 4, and there was like hundreds and hundreds of people in there, Yeah. So when I got in that double digits, I was just happy with that, That's what I was a good thing to do.
No, I went out. Yeah, I went out to the track a couple months. I'm like, what's my number? They're like, you're 54. I'm like, okay, I'll put it on my plate because I.
Yeah.
Nice, dude. Well, I was putting a bow on this whole collecting thing, and I have a couple of questions for you guys. I want to see if it bothers you guys or as much as it bothers me, or people out there that are going to be watching this years from now or whatever the case may be. Marty, does it bother you when somebody calls a BMX bike a BMX?
It used to because it sounded so generic, but now, like when I talk to people, like I'll talk to people that say, "Yeah, I race bikes," and they're like, "Oh yeah, what do you got, a 250?" I'm like, "No, I race a BMX bike." They're like, "Huh? No, that's not even mountain bike." So now I think you kind of have to identify it for what it is.
It drives me crazy when people say, I have a BMX for sale for $250. I'm like, oh my God, dude, that doesn't make any sense, dude.
Yeah.
That's like saying I've got a 10-speed.
Yeah.
Like we used to always say, oh, I ride a 10-speed. I'm like, what does that mean? Is it a road bike? Is it
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or this is another thing that drives me crazy. I have a bike for sale. It's all original except for the grips, tires, pads, and brakes. Does that bother you?
And it's not original.
No,
it drives me insane. Dude, it's like, it's not original if you have different grips, different tires, different pads.
Right.
Does that bother you?
I think that what used to bother me back when I was really collecting stuff and buying stuff on eBay is people would be like, oh, I have a set of NOS Redline flights, so we just pulled them off this bike. I'm like, well, then they're not NOS. NOS is new old stock. It's never been mounted. So you can't, technically, you can't have, I think you could have an NOS bike if it was a complete bike that came from the factory. Even then, I guess that would that you could kind of go back and forth and say, it was built in the bike shop and it was never ridden or never sold, because that's what NOS is, new old stock. It's not something that
always wondered, what the hell does that mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm glad thank you.
Yeah. So if someone says, oh, I got a set of NOS, Comp 3 tires, if they're mounted, they're not NOS. If they're sitting there with the wrapper on it, then they could be, or grips or stuff like that.
What another thing that bothers me is when it says it. Okay, when can you say that it's a survivor, Marty? We've talked about survivor bikes. If you replace the tires, it's not a survivor. If you replace the grips, it's not a survivor. Now, if you put period correct, so let's say that on your RRS, right?
Yeah.
And it had effed up. You didn't like the grips for some reason, and you found period correct grips.
Yeah.
And put them on that RRS. Is it still a survivor, or is it now just period correct?
I would say you could call it a survivor if you are. Let me think. Well, man, there's that though, man.
So you're saying,
yeah, there's a lot of gray area there, because
a survivor
to me, like that RS that I found was
in my book, a survivor is exactly how you found it.
Not restored, not tampered with, just how you found it.
Exactly.
Then if that's the case, then none of those bikes at any of those shows are true survivors, because
I don't know, because who knows? You could have put grips on your RRS or hypothetically, and no one ever would have known.
Right.
They would have been period correct. You could have sold it, or you could have advertised it as a 100% survivor, which people do. But I'm just saying is from if people know what. So like my whole thing is, if I bought a bike from a guy on Facebook, a Facebook group, or one of my Facebook friends, I can't then take that bike, change something on it, and then market it as the way I got it, or being a survivor, because people out the bike is out there. They know they're like, yeah, dude, it's not a survivor. Now, I'm not. There's a very fine line in value for me from period correct to survivor, right? And I don't care if it has ugly grips on it that I don't like, and they put grips on it. I'm fine with that. It doesn't bother me, right?
You're right.
I'm cool with that. But what bothers me is when guys put it as a survivor, and they got repop KKT Lightnings or something on there.
Yeah, I think the repopped parts are, I mean, so on that RS, I had the only thing they had, there was a seat post on it that was all just beat to shit. So I did put on, I bought an aluminum, red aluminum seat post, and I had some repopped snake belly tires that I've had for probably 5 or 6 years that I took off of my Super Goose to put on it because the snake bellies would have been a little bit more air correct. So again, the tires that were on it they weren't even holding air. So it was like, and they were like some knockoff Comp 3s, and they were just junk. So I think that with the Survivor, I think you're allowed to maybe update maybe your tires, maybe your brake pads, unless you can find something old. But again, it's what do you want? Do you want to be able to ride this Survivor, or do you want it to just be sitting there with flat tires and hey, look, there is a Survivor that's sitting here that you can't ride. If you want to make it rideable, which is what those in the bike show, they're like, we want these bikes to be rideable. If you were to go out and ride it, I made that RS, man, I tore it all down, re-greased everything, and made it to where you can go ride that thing, and it rides good, it rides decent. So that to me was what I thought the criteria was. So I don't think they're going to bust your chops too much at a bike show if you have a couple of things here and there to bring it up to snuff. But I'm sure they would prefer new old stock. But who's going to go buy a pair of Oakley B1Bs for $400 to stick on a bike?
Here's why another outlook on this. I found like an 86 Pro Performer from my friend. My friend found it underneath the porch of the house he was working on. He sold it to me, and this was the only time I've ever said it was 100% original. It still had the GT tubes in it. It was dry rotted out. It was the tires were gone, but I believe it had the original brake cables, the original what do you call it?
The gyro,
the whole 9 yards. And that was the only time I've had one. Now, personally, if I see a bike, I'll give you a pass on the tubes. If the tubes aren't original, it can still be 100% original. But other than that, I think if you replace the grips, brake cable maybe, brake pad, But anyways, dude, that's just my take on that.
I mean, that's all pretty subjective. So you could go one way or another. One it's tomato, right? Six one way, half a dozen another. It's all personal preference or personal views. But I mean, for me, I don't think you're going to find a Survivor that's 40 years old that you're not going to have to
restore in some point.
Maybe even a chain, or something. But
I love them the way they found.
I don't think it's going to devaluize the bike any. It might. Unless you have an old set of Comp 2s that came on those Diamondback Silver Streaks, in my opinion, were the best tires ever made were Comp 2s. Those tires were so great, but good luck finding those too, because they quit making those probably in '84. I think I remember was the last time I remember seeing Comp 2s for sale. And
those were super clean looking.
Yeah,
contours,
they were a decent tire, especially if you run a 2.25 up front and a 1.75 in the rear. It looked good.
Why
Yeah,
no? Why never a comp one?
What's that?
There was never a comp one, right?
what would be a comp one, like just a straight
That's a great
knobby?
question.
There's never
I
been a
don't
comp one.
know.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Why would they go directly to comp two?
How do we not know this? There's three of us here and we don't know.
I've asked that question before. I'm like, why
Yeah.
was there no comp two? Well, comp one.
I would just assume it was like a straight knobby, but I don't know, man. That's my best guess.
Well,
Yeah, I have no idea what the
Marty,
first comp tire.
do you call a pair of BMX? Do you call it a fork or forks?
I used to say forks when I was a kid. Now I call it a fork. It's terminology. I have a good friend of mine that calls Cooks Brothers, and it's Cook Brothers, not Cooks Brothers, but it's just And then I guess like Tangy components. I think the correct pronunciation is Tonga.
Tongue, right?
Is it Tonga? Yeah. So I don't know. Sagino,
No,
Sagino. Yeah.
I called it
It's
Tangy, right?
yeah.
And what was the other one? What was the other one you said? I told yeah, four. Okay, so I always called it pair of forks.
Yeah.
I think it's the way you reference it. Like you go, I'm buying a frame and fork,
Yeah.
or you go,
I
I scratched my fork. I
Yeah.
guess it's how you reference
It's like
it.
it's like pants. It's like calling a pair of pants versus a pant. Fork. There's two legs, right?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Only when there's two fork
Yeah.
are they forks.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did hear something about Cook Brothers, right? There's
Yeah.
a collector on YouTube. I've been watching him this week. He's pretty good. He does this whole show in his attic. I don't know if you guys have seen him before. And he said that there are Cooks Brothers and Cook Brothers based on when the bike company was sold. So they couldn't call it Cooks anymore. They called it Cook or Cook. I can't remember which one came first.
I think in the mountain bike realm, like they would call them Cook's cranks.
Okay.
CBQ.
Say that again?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Didn't Cook Brothers become CBQ?
I have no idea.
No idea.
Wait, I missed something, Danny. You said a comedian that was talking about BMX?
No, a collector.
A collector, okay.
He's a YouTuber, and I watched him several times this week, and he's all his stuff is in his attic, and he's really good. I mean, he's really on top of his stuff. He knows everything that has to do with original collecting. Like, I was actually watching him, which I thought was good because we were going to have this podcast, and I go, well, I'm not a collector. I build bikes the way I want to build them, and I don't really worry about the collecting aspect of it. But he's really spot on. But I can't remember who he is. But I can tell you can probably find him. He's on YouTube, and everything is in his attic.
So, one more question for you guys, and I already forgot what it was going to be. Oh, what are the top 3 most valuable BMX, old school BMX parts out there? Now, I know this is subjective.
Yeah.
Right? If anybody's watching this video 10 years from now and they're out hunting for BMX bikes and they don't know jack shit about BMX, but they see a sticker on a bike somewhere or they hear something about a name of a BMX brand from the 80s, what's the safest bet to buy that frame, that part, that bike in the future? What's the most valuable or sought after BMX brands in your opinion, Marty?
Well, yeah, so are we talking most sought after or most rare that is highly sought after? Because that's a whole other subject, I guess.
All of it, the most valuable, the most sought after, the best, the safest play to spend your money on something in the future. What brands would you tell people to get?
If you can find an old ESP stem, those hold value.
You're the second person that said that on the show.
Yeah. ESP stems were short-lived, but you find one and they're good. It's almost the S&M Challenger stem kind of made their kind of I almost say it's modeled after, but it kind of looks like the old ESP, the way the top clamp is kind of comes up in the middle. But the ESP stems, those are, you find one of those and you're sitting on a little bit of gold.
Branding wise.
Oh, I mean, Hutch is always fetched pretty good money, which is why I think you will not have a problem getting rid of yours. I think you just have it's just people aren't spending a lot of money right now. So yeah. So Hutch always pedals, hubs. Those magnesium hubs too were garbage anyway. Those were those were, I hated those hubs. Um, I liked, honestly, hub wise, Susie sealed hubs to me were great. They were $38 and they ran fantastic. Bullseyes were okay. I ran bullseye hubs, but those, they still make them today. Philwood, any of that kind of stuff is usually pretty good, but I don't know what's going to hold their value now. I think it's, like you said, it's subjective, man. But Hutch yeah.
Yeah, I would say Nomura is probably, in my opinion, the most valuable BMX out there from out of any of them. And I think it's like a three-way tie between Cook Brothers, JMC, and what's the other one? There's a two-way tie between Cook Brothers and JMC. And then I put Hutch on the same level as Hutch, GT, CW, and those types of things.
So those are a little bit more in the rare category, though. Those Numoras, good luck. Those are few and far between again. And even the JMCs, if you find one that's not broken, then you've got something that's worth a few bucks. But yeah, I think those are a little bit more rare. Whereas Hutch stuff, you can still find it. Skyways, they're ridiculous how much those people think they got a Skyway and they think it's gold plated. It's like, man,
they made gold plated ones.
Yeah, and believe you me, I like Skyway. I have 3 of them, but it's like shit. So I think Skyway always holds its value. You're not going to have a hard time selling a Skyway unless you want something astronomical for it. But like I said, those other frames are more of a rare. Like the ESP stem is a rare commodity.
Yeah. One more before we tie this part of the show up. If you can give a collector or a guy out there thinking about buying for his first BMX bike or buying or selling BMX bikes, what's one piece of advice that you would give to them?
If you get into it, the best piece of advice is if something happens, if you pass away, don't let your wife sell anything for what you told her you paid for it. That's a joke. Gosh.
All I will tell anybody from this point forward is buy what you love.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's what I was going to make sure it's something that you know what you're looking for and you know what you're into. That's just it.
Buy what you love.
Yeah.
Because if it goes down the toilet, you
can
still look at yourself in the mirror and say, I enjoy it. I don't care. I spent money on it.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. I built that bike with only one thing in mind. I love Skyways and I wanted to ride it. Yeah. That's it. And I invested a lot in that and I don't care. It's mine. I'm keeping it.
Right. And you're never looking to get rid of it. Yeah, that's right. Exactly. That's like I said with a lot of my stuff. I'm not looking to sell any of this stuff, but I mean, everything has its value if somebody's willing to pay for it. But it's not gonna. I'm not. I don't have to worry about not making my house payment because I got a garage full of bikes.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I jotted down a few things, Kevin, before we go into our game. But as far as brand names, I think are going to always hold value. Obviously, Bullseye. You guys brought that up. Original red line crank.
Marty's already sweating because he's.
I'm out in the garage.
Yeah. Anything Hutch. I mean, especially the pedals. JMC Champion, Patterson Boss. You can't really go wrong with those. I mean, that's what I jotted down.
Yeah, RevCore pedals. I want a set of RevCore pedals on one of those raffles, and I mean, I put them. I sold them. I won them for like $120, and I sold them for. I want to say I sold them for like $500 or $600. Somebody, the collector, really wanted it. And I'm like, you can have these things, man. These things are a freaking death trap. I never liked cage pedals. Those things, I didn't want to sit on them. I didn't. They weren't that important to me. So I gave them. I sold them to. Yeah, I sold them to a collector that wanted them for his bike, and he paid righteously for them, and he offered me the money for them. Like, yeah, sure.
And he probably never raced either.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to.
Shimano DX, dude, all day long.
Those were my favorite pedals, DX pedals. They were like $28.99, brand new.
And they were amazing. It still are. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen, let's play because I'm ready for dinner.
Okay. Let's do it.
All right, so I've got 1985, 1986 pop culture references, and let's just go. You guys know the rules, man. And Marty's the guest. He goes first. So, Marty, you got BMX or pop culture? What do you want to start off with today? Wait a minute. Before we start, did you beat Kevin last time?
No, we tied.
Oh, this is the tiebreaker. This is perfect. This is perfect. Okay.
This
all right,
we'll try. Clash of the Titans, man.
We'll try to go quick because Marty's about to melt.
I know. All right. Let's.
What do you want to start off with?
You need to send him a fan or something for the next.
I'm all right. I'm going to go with pop culture tonight.
All right, we'll start off with that. Oh, I got to create my scoreboard here. This is going to be an epic battle. This is for the championship between you guys. Well, actually, if Kevin wins, then we have to have a rubber match, I guess, right?
All right. Well,
all right.
Yeah.
All right, first question. Let's see here. What was the name of Atari's gaming system in the early 80s, the most popular gaming system?
Atari 2600.
Bing. All right, that was an easy one. So Marty's got the first point. That was an easy one. Okay, Kevin, what do you want?
Pop culture.
MTV question. What does the term VJ stand for?
Video jockey.
Did you guess, dude? You look like you were stuck.
No.
Yeah, you got that right. Okay, there you go. Okay, it's 1-1.
Who was
technically it was video disc jockey.
There you go. Yeah, there you go.
We'll give it to you.
Yeah.
Who was the hottest? Who was hotter, Martha Quinn or Nina Blackwood?
Martha Quinn.
By far, dude. Yeah.
Man, it's funny because I remember the Nina name more than the other one. Does that make sense? Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
All right. So we're on. It's back to Marty. What do you want to do, Marty?
Okay.
BMX.
Going BMX. Okay. 1986. Where did the name free agent come from?
Oh my goodness.
It's kind of a tough one.
It is. I don't know, but I think me and Ronnie were talking about this just like yesterday. We were talking about early teams and how free agent was around a lot sooner, a lot earlier than people knew. But I have no idea. I don't know where it came from.
Kevin, any idea?
I have a whole idea.
What do you got?
So Greg Grubbs was he left he got kicked off Redline, or he left Redline. He was at the Grands, I believe, somewhere in the Midwest. He was wearing a jersey that said free. It was a white jersey, I believe, that said free agent on it.
Oh wow!
And Boris Dixon saw Greg Grubbs on with that shirt on and called. I forgot the young lady, the family that started that had free agent. Do you remember their name? I can't remember their name. Called the lady and said because her son rode for VDC. God, which was her name? Shoop. The Shoops. He raced for I think he raced for VDC. And he's Boris sent her $500 and said, I'll take care of the bikes. You set the team up. And that's how free agent came about.
Kevin, that was the longest, best answer ever, man. I thought I was going to trip you guys up. That was amazing, Kevin. Good job, man.
Thank you for the history lesson.
All right, back to Marty. Marty, what do you want to do?
Well, I did. I lost that question, right? So
Oh, it's back to Kevin. Kevin,
Yeah.
this is your chance to actually pull a little bit. You
Yeah.
stole that question.
Okay.
What do you want to do?
do?
Yeah.
Okay. Pop culture.
What puzzle shaped like a cube was a major craze in the 1980s?
Rubik's Cube.
Yeah, that was an easy one. Man, I got to get harder with those. All right. Rubik's Cube. You know, my kids love the Rubik's Cube, man. My grandkids, I have one on the coffee table. My grandson comes in all the time, mixes it all up and gives it back to me. Loves it.
I have a Rubik's Cube story.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Did you guys ever take it apart and then put it back together again? Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I thought we were special.
I remember that.
Yeah, you
Snap
can
it all
take
apart.
and put it back together again. All the sides.
And all it really is a series of algorithm. If you turn it a certain way for so many times, it will automatically go to where it needs to be.
I never even could do one side, dude. That's how unimpressed I was with this thing. I was like,
we can have a whole podcast on the Rubik's Cube by itself.
Yeah.
All right, 3-1. Kevin's in the lead.
Oh,
Good start.
man, I'm getting my butt kicked.
All right, Marty, what do you think?
BMX.
Going back to BMX. Okay. All right, so I need you to name the 3 bicycles made by Skyway. 3 different models made by Skyway.
There was a TA. There was a 300 TA.
2.
And there was a street beat.
Nailed it.
There was a street styler. There was a 280. Hey, do you know why Skyway named them the 300 TA and the what was it, a 240 or 280?
No, what was that? What was that about?
They were named after the Z cars, the Nissan 300.
Nissan.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Ken Coster named them. Yeah.
You guys got the facts, man. This is an epic battle.
That came from the horse's mouth. Ken told me that in his garage. He came up with those names because he liked the Z cars.
That's awesome. I love that. All right, Kevin, 3-2. Guys came up with great answers so far, so we're looking great. What do you want to do?
BMX.
BMX, okay. I'm going to name 4 nicknames. You need to tell me which rider is associated with that nickname. Are you ready?
Yeah.
You got to get 100% for the point.
Okay.
Sheepdog.
Kevin Hull.
Pistol.
Beal and Karavich.
Turbo.
Harry Leary.
Lumberjack.
Gary Ellis.
Oh, dude.
Oh, no. Hold on, we're on. Yeah. Sorry, Crazy just walked in. We have a visitor, Ronnie.
Oh, Ronnie's in the house.
Okay. Okay.
Hey,
good. I get a phone a friend here.
Yeah, phone a friend.
Okay.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was awesome, Kev. You got them all. You didn't even hesitate, man. That was awesome.
I wouldn't have known Kevin Hull up until until Dirty Fest with the story.
Oh, I said it, huh? I said
I wouldn't have known that. I would have got it wrong.
All right, Marty, what do you want to do?
Let's go BMX.
Going back to BMX. What bicycle company won the Nora Cup in 1983, 84, 85, and 86? One
GT.
team. Kevin?
GT.
No. What do you think?
Who's the Western? It is, right?
No, it wasn't GT. It was a good guess, though.
Can I say it?
Wait.
Okay.
Wait.
Well, the pros got second behind me most of the time.
Hold on.
It was Diamondback.
Oh, and the Ronnie had the answer right.
Yeah.
All
Okay.
right.
I don't get the answer, but that's all right.
All right, we'll leave that one in.
Sorry, Kevin.
Was it GT?
No, I thought it was GT, but you know what? It was Diamondback. Now, yeah, they're always, I remember that now. They're always advertising that Nora Cup.
4 in a row, man.
Yeah.
I read it myself today. I go, damn, they got 4 of them in a row? Yeah, it's 4 in a row. And look at Ronnie knew.
Coming off the bench.
All right. Next time I should have just put Ronnie in the game, man. Just let him play. Actually, should we let Ronnie play?
He can play with us.
You want to play, Ronnie?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, we're going to put Ronnie in. Let's give Ronnie a question right away so we can give him a chance to catch up here. I'm going to give him the point for that one that he just answered. And so, Ronnie, do you want to do a BMX question or you want to do pop culture for the 80s? What do you want to do?
Let's do BMX question.
Okay, we're gonna do a BMX question.
I was better at that than pop culture.
You got it. You got it. I'm trying to come up with something for. I know he's gonna know everything, so I'm looking at these, trying to figure out what might be hard. Okay. Complete this product's name, Ronnie. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Odyssey blank blank brakes.
One more time.
Odyssey blank blank brakes.
Pitbull.
Bam! Ronnie gets that one, so he's in there.
That wasn't that easy. That was kind of a hard one.
I remember when those things. I'm sorry, Kevin. When those pit bulls came out, they were sweet. Like they could really slow you down with the Mathhausers, right?
Yeah, those were good brakes. Those were awesome brakes.
They were reliable in the long run. But I mean, I think they were kind of overbuilt a little bit. But yeah.
But you got it, dude. All right. Is it Kevin? Is it you? Or is it Marty?
That's Kevin's question.
Kevin's turn, yeah, because you tried to steal, but then Ronnie stole it. So you go ahead, Kevin. What do you got?
BMX.
We're going back to BMX. We're going to run out of questions here. Okay. What company says they created the first freestyle frame? One company's taking credit for creating the first freestyle frame. Who is that?
GT.
Marty?
Haro.
All right, so the score is Kevin 3, Marty 3, Ronnie AA Patterson. Ronald Anderson 2. So he came in out of nowhere and got 2. So let's go to Marty, and then we'll go back to Ronnie again. What do you think?
Okay, let's do a pop culture.
What company did the "Where's the Beef" commercial?
Oh, that was Wendy's.
That was Wendy's. All right.
That was my very first job ever. Was Wendy's hamburgers.
Wendy's. Hey, they're the only ones that are reasonably priced. You can still get a biggie bag for like $6 or $7.
Back in the day, you could win on Wendy's breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I saw Brian Patterson do that.
What?
My brother and I, when we were roommates, we went to Wendy's every night, but we refused to say Biggie. We would go up to the window and say, "We like the extra large fry." You mean the Biggie? No. We just want the extra large fries.
Wendy's used to have that salad bar.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had a salad bar, man.
Let's
whose turn is it?
Pop culture.
You're gonna go pop culture, Ronnie? Okay.
Yes.
Who sang the song "Down Under"?
I want to say Duran Duran, but Down Under, the land down under. Yeah, homie's good singer. Darn it! Come on!
Oh man!
Oh, shnikes!
They're from Australia, I think. Is that right, Kev?
Yeah, they are. I think they are. But I think the name of the band. I think is his name.
Going the wrong direction. Think of it.
All right, tell me where I'm wrong.
Wait,
Kevin gets to steal.
I want to steal.
All right.
Okay, it's a Men at Work.
Yeah.
Men at Work. Men at Work.
The name of the album is, I believe, Business as Usual.
Yeah.
I don't know the name of the album.
I believe it is.
That's pretty good.
The lead singer is Colin Hay.
That's who I thought was the Fabulous Five last time when we were talking in the last question.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I forgot about that. Okay, guys. So what we have left, we do have 2 pop culture left. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We still have 5 BMX questions left, so we still got a few questions left.
So Marty's turn.
No, it's your turn, Kevin.
Okay, my turn.
Yeah, because I went, then Ronnie went, and now you went, and you stole, so you should be leading.
That's good.
Yeah, so it's 5-4-2. It's 5-4-2, and that's only because Ronnie came in late.
BMX.
Okay, what do you got?
BMX.
All right. Okay, we already did this one. Okay, this is going to be a price point question. Are you ready? In 1985, the GT Mach 1, the price point was $225, $229, or $308.
$225.
Who's going to steal? Can someone steal? 225, 229, or 308?
And that's in the 90s?
1985.
85.
1985, they sponsored Gary Ellis that season. Well, we're not going to go by wins, but anything under. Well, you know what? Look, man, let's be honest. I'm going to go with 308.
308 the miss. What, Marty? This is it.
Oh,
What, was 325 the last answer?
Oh man, you guys all got it wrong. 229.
Oh, well, I was asking you what it was, but yeah, okay, gotcha. 229 sounds right.
Okay.
You could actually go by.
Yeah.
Oh, so Mach 1.
The Mach 1 wasn't the Pro Series. It was
in their high end.
no.
No, that was our cheapest one they had.
Yeah.
It was the cheapest one until they made the Interceptor.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what was the Interceptor then? Was that
that
lower
came
than the
after?
Mach
And
1?
that was definitely before the Mach 1. So it's Mach 1 Interceptor Pro Series.
Okay.
Yeah. Ronnie,
Man,
ever ride a
you know
GT
what?
at all?
Next time I get a question, I bet you I get it right. You guys are playing some tough. Those are tough questions.
Okay.
All right.
So
Those are
whose
the
question
hardest
was that? Was Kevin's question, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now Marty's turn.
So we all got zilch.
Yeah, nobody got anything on that one.
Now so I guess it's my turn. Okay. Let's do BMX.
Yeah.
What wheels did Mongoose produce in the mid 80s that were pierced? What were those called?
There were the Pro Class. There was the hard anodized Series 3, and then there's just the regular Pro Class. Those are my absolute favorite wheels.
Winner, chicken dinner on that one.
Stuff.
It's tied up. Kevin and Marty at 5. Ronnie bringing it in at 2, but I've seen Ronnie make a comeback. Now, I saw a video of Ronnie racing the other night. He posted it on Facebook. It was at the Grands. He was sitting, I think, 3rd, and that dude blew past everybody and went back in 1st.
That was a smooth turn. Or that I saw that.
That was badass. That was badass.
Make sure history doesn't repeat itself.
All right, so let's go on. It's Ronnie's turn. All right, it's Ronnie's, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Ronnie, you want to do BMX or you want to do parkour? Okay. All right, here we go. In 1985, who won the IBMXF World Championships? Was it Harry Larry, Tommy Brackens, or Gary Ellis? It was in Whistler, Canada.
That's a good question. That is a real good question. I might have to add. I can hear my Jeopardy thinking here. But I have a question. When you say IBMF, does that mean it comes with a sleeve?
No, it's prior to the sleeve. IBMXF, so nothing UCI. This is pre-UCI.
Okay, so that means that it wasn't a history race, but it was a big race. Was it in the USA?
It was in Canada, Whistler, Canada.
Whistler, Canada.
1985.
Yeah, I didn't go to that one. I know my brother did. And I just, I want to say Tommy, but he didn't win that world championship. So, but the funny thing is I would think, because I remember Harry and I really battling that time in our lives, okay? I went on vacation then. That was like, I think the Rad movie time too, huh? They were all...
somewhere around there, yeah. I think they were filming it at that time.
You know what? I just have to say, Harry Larry.
Oh, okay. So he didn't win that one. Can somebody steal that?
Yeah, I can. Gary Ellis.
Gary Ellis. Now, I'm going to give Ronnie a point, and here's why. Because Harry Larry won the Whistler Canada Cup the day before. So the day before was the Whistler Canada Cup. He won that. The next day.
Wait a minute. Hold on. I have a question since I'm even going to get a point. And I have something to say about this.
Yeah.
You got to earn that point.
Yeah.
You guys weren't expecting this, were you?
No.
So if Gary Ellis wins this particular event, we know that he was the reigning world champ. He won one in 83, 84, 85, 86, 87. But he always won them out of the country. So that was one that he won out of the country, huh?
Essentially, yeah, because it was Canada.
Okay, because the three riders were Brackens, Larry, and
Ellis.
Ellis.
So Ellis wins the world championship there, and that was in the fall.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you, though, the day before, Harry was on fire. He won the Canada Cup. So, but the next day, he was looking pretty good. But Gary
So he won
got it.
Saturday, not Sunday.
There you go. There you
Okay.
go. That's why I gave him
So
points.
did Kevin end up getting the point?
Yeah.
Kevin got a point, so did Ronnie, because he just got he was off by one day. So I gave it to him. I have a bonus question. So who's going to get who got the question right? Kevin, you got it right.
Kevin did.
So the bonus question is, in 1985, Gary Ellis wins the world championship for what factory team?
It's easy.
GT.
Who wants to steal that?
Kuwahara.
No. Ronnie?
Gary Ellis wins the world championship in 1985, huh? Oh, that's right. He was not on GT at the time. And so what was the question again?
Do you know what factory team he was on? Now, Ronnie, you almost took this
He was
contract.
on
Oh,
there you go. All right. Yeah. I heard you. Yeah, I heard Ronnie on a podcast. I think it was Dirty Knobs. And correct me if I'm wrong, Ronnie. Huffy put a deal on the floor for you, right? But you had an injury.
That was when I started. I still like BMX. You know, I really did. I was just finding out how criminal it was just around that time.
Well, that was a good question. That was a fun one. All right, so let's see.
I can't believe I choked on that one.
So Ronnie, you got 4. Marty, you're at 5.
Wow.
Kevin, you're leading with 6. So this is getting interesting. So we're down to a couple questions. Whose turn is it?
Marty's turn, because I missed the bonus.
Okay, so Marty.
Yeah.
What do we got left, Marty? Let me see. We got 2 BMX questions left, Marty, and we have only 2 pop reference left.
Let's go with the pop culture question. I seem to be doing better at that than BMX this time.
Pop reference.
Jeez.
Who sang the song Africa?
Toto.
Whoa, got it. No problem. Easy peasy. 6-6. All right. Is it now back to you,
Kevin.
Ronnie.
Oh, Ronnie?
No, it's Ronnie's turn. Ronnie, BMX or pop culture? What do you think?
BMX.
BMX. Okay. In 1985, the Huffy factory team had 2 factory pros on its roster. Can you tell me who the 2 pros were? We already talked about one, but.
Okay, so the 2 guys that I had to tolerate in 85. Okay, so, well, we know one of them's Gary.
Got one.
Yeah. And because 85, everybody won a little bit. Yeah. 84 too. I just coming out of this turn and I'm trying to go and I'm ready, like gonna pull on Pete down that straightaway, you know, and somebody's grabbing me and I just can't get away. And I'm gonna stand up and turn around and look at the fool, but I'm gonna say Stu Thompson.
Stu Thompson, he got it. Gary Ellis and Stu Thompson were teammates on Factory Huffy. That brings Ronnie to 5. So, yeah.
Did John Pine ever turn pro? Wasn't he a pro?
John Pine was a Factory Pro as well, but that was in 83, 84. By the time Huffy came back, now they had Ellis and they had Stu. And Stu broke his collarbone at that same world championship that Gary won.
Windsor?
Yeah.
When did Mike King get on Huffy then?
He was racing for Huffy at the same. He was there as well, but he was a 16 expert at that same race for Factory Huffy.
Him and Cecil Johns were battling. It was fucking cute. He had a 25-year-old out there, and a 16-year-old was pulling on him. It was great.
Okay, who got that? Okay, so back to Kevin. Sorry, guys, I never did it with 3 people.
It's Kevin's choice now.
All right, Kevin, we got 1 BMX question, 1 pop culture question. We're down to the last 2.
Pop culture.
So, okay. Before Sammy Hagar was the lead singer for Van Halen, who was the lead singer prior to Hagar?
David Lee Roth.
David Lee Roth. You got it. Okay. So, Kevin, you got 7. And I think we're coming down. Oh, crap. This is it. Kevin, you pretty much won this already.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go. It's Marty. Is it your turn?
Yes. BMX.
Okay.
I guess BMX is the last thing we got. Okay. So
Name the #1 BMX tire of the 1980s.
comp 3.
Tom 3, you got it. All right, so that's a wrap. That tied the game again. I just realized it. 7-7 again.
No, really?
Oh, we're gonna have
tied
to do it
again.
again, Kevin.
Yeah,
Man.
and that's
Hey, honestly though, hey, let's put it this way: if Ronnie didn't come in, I think I lose this game today. So
Yeah, you both were good on the pop culture.
So
yeah,
Oh,
that
man, that was awesome, Ronnie.
that was probably the best one we've ever had.
by far. This is the best one.
By far. And hey, listen, you guys got to have we got 2 ties, so yeah, we'll have to do it again.
Yep.
We're gonna have to do it again. Yeah. And bring Ronnie back, man. We're gonna do it one more time. That'll be it.
Yeah.
All
right, guys. Well, I'm gonna say goodbye to Marty and Ronnie. I want to give you guys a heartfelt thank you for coming on the show. It's been a pleasure as always, and I thank you very much, gentlemen. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Kevin. Have a good night.
And we'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you for watching.
See you, Danny. Have a nice night.
All right.
Okay. Good night, guys.
Wow, Kevin.
Dude.
That was awesome.
That was awesome, man. That was awesome.
That was the best, one of the best shows we've had. That was really, really fun.
I agree, man.
It's going to be hard to top that one.
Give me hard. So I appreciate it as always, Danny. I appreciate it. You make it more interesting, dude. Can you tell everybody watching what you do on your channel? You've reached 900 subscribers, right?
Yeah. I'm Danny Pena, BMX Racing on YouTube. BMX magazine reviews, BMX video reviews, everything BMX related. I'm going to mash it, and I'd love for you to come check it out. Most of the videos are about 20 to 30 minutes. Magazines can go a little longer, but come please watch, like, and subscribe, and also share. That's all I got.
Nice. And I want to mention that this episode is sponsored by RIP BMX Wear. RIP BMX Wear, Joe Tippett. Great stuff, great shirts, cool stuff. He makes T-shirts of riders that have passed on that are no longer with us, iconic riders in the sport. So if you would like to check out Joe's Facebook page, I will link it in the description to RIP BMX Wear. And thank you very much. If you'd like to subscribe to this channel, please do so. And if you'd like to go to my website, www.bmxrospodcast.com, I would love for you to grab a shirt or a sweatshirt and support the channel. And that's all I can think about for tonight. Danny and I are going to interview a very cool gentleman by the name of Richard Kerr on Sunday morning. That episode will drop next Saturday. And that is going to be a fantastic episode because he's one that's got Mike Miranda to start racing. And he was part of the fastest junior high school team in the world. But,
I can't wait for that one. All right, man.
Good one. So from Danny and I, we thank you very much for watching. We hope you were entertained for an hour and a half. And until next week, the track is now closed. Peace out. Thanks, Danny.
See you, Kevin.